Today I want to share the top 3 tips that I have learned in 2025 as a footballer. I have played football for over 11 years now in 4 different countries, and along those years I have picked up many lessons that have shaped me as a player. Some of them have been painful and some of them have helped me play football with a lot less pressure and a lot more freedom. So here are my top 3. In late of 2022, I picked up a knee injury while playing in England, and then I came back to Malaysia in 2022 and began my rehab process. Unfortunately for me, as my right knee was almost healing, I then injured my left knee. This caused on and off pain, but it wasn't too bad and I was still able to train on it. And then in July of 2023, I attended a trial with a state team with my left knee not properly healed. And considering that it wasn't properly healed, it's no surprise that during that trial, due to the lack of strength in my knee, I actually rolled my left ankle. I wasn't selected for the team at that time, but then when the transfer window reopened and I trialed with them again, this time I was selected. And 2 days before the opening game, I pulled my left hamstring during a training session. And after this series of injuries, the only thing on my mind was that I wanted to prove to this team that I was worthy of being here. I was desperate for the approval of my coaches and unconsciously even the approval of my teammates. I didn't want them to think that I was weak or I was an injury prone player. So every piece of advice that I got, I just took it. I never stopped to think if it was actually worth it or if I actually needed it. And over time, as I kept taking all the advices that I was getting, I started to lose myself as a player. I was constantly doubting my decisions, I was hesitating, I wasn't playing like I used to. Football started to feel like a chore. It was like a burden that I had to do, and it wasn't fun anymore. And this actually went on for quite a while until one day I decided it had to stop. And so I asked myself a question. And this was also the question that I asked myself just before going into the trial that I recently went into. And the question is, how would I play if I knew for a fact that at the end of the 90 minutes, victory was mine? And I love this question so much because it helps you stop chasing the win. It takes the pressure off you because now you don't have to wonder how you're going to win. You've already won. You just have to go there and play like you've already won. So many times in my life, what has stopped me from doing something wasn't the thing itself, but what I actually perceived the thing to be. Most of us assume that things are harder than they actually are because of what we've heard from other people. And we believe their words because we're told that the wisest people learn from other people's mistakes. But someone's perception of something may be completely different from yours. They may not have enjoyed the thing because they probably never even liked it in the first place. But because we hear it over and over again that it was hard and it was not nice to do, it solidifies in our brain. So many times I have these mental battles where I'm arguing with people in my head. And most of the time, they are scenarios from the past, but sometimes they are also scenarios that are hypothetical. My brain would literally make up scenarios and it would consume my thoughts, and I would argue with people in my head. It's exhausting and it takes up so much of mental space that when you want to actually go and do something meaningful, you don't have the energy anymore. And you might also have thoughts in your head that tell you that your ball control sucks, or your speed is terrible, or your tank is always empty. But you have to realize that these are just thoughts and they're not actually facts. And if you can have something that is untrue that is playing in your head over and over again, it might as well be positive and untrue. Trust that as long as you're doing the work, you will see the results. And if your thoughts keep telling you otherwise, find ways to prove it wrong. Do a beep test to monitor your stamina, do a 60-meter sprint to monitor your speed, practice juggling with a friend so you know what your ball control looks like. Find proof to quiet the doubt. Now, this is something new that I've learned recently, and I absolutely love it. Most of the time, when we fear something or when we doubt ourselves, it always exists in the vague and never in the specific. For an example, if you want to go for a football trial and it costs money to register for the trial and you don't have it, your first thought might be, well, I can't go for the trial because I don't have any money. But can you really not go? Because what is the alternative? You could ask your parents for the money, you could ask your friends for money, you could save up your pocket money, or you could even get a part time job to save up for the trial. And when you break it down like that, all of a sudden the fear that you have around not being able to go for the trial just dissipates. In my case, I've always had nerves before going for a match or a trial, and there have been times where it's been so intense I felt like throwing up. So one day I've decided to kind of sit down and actually ask myself, what about the match or the trial am I truly nervous about? And it came down to 3 things: my speed, my stamina, and my ability to pluck the ball out of the air with pressure behind me. And I kid you not, just by admitting these things to myself, I haven't even actually addressed the issue yet, but just by admitting it to myself that these three things are what I'm actually nervous about, 90% of my anxiety just vanished. I used to get nervous before a trial or a match, and now I don't really feel anything anymore. And I'm not saying this from a place of I'm invincible now, but it has truly, genuinely helped me manage my nerves and my anxiety before a match. So if you feel nervous before a game or you have debilitating anxiety about something, really sit down and ask yourself, what is it that you're truly nervous about and you're truly anxious about? Most of the time, you would realize it's not actually as scary as you think it is. Thank you for watching. I hope you've gained something valuable from this video.